Actually, I'm gonna start with an important quote. Stop surviving your history and start creating your destiny. You said it, and I wrote it down. And it's so beautiful, and I'm so happy to have you here. Thanks for joining me, Mimi, today.
Oh, it's an absolute honor and privilege too. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation we have together today. Thank you.
And what do you think is the most important thing people should take away from our conversation today?
I think for me, it's just to teach for people just to remember that we are the creators of our reality. And that when you learn how to master yourself, your mind, and your emotions, that you learn to play this game of life rather than being caught up in it. So instead of keep responding to everything, you can start remembering that you are actually commanding life. Life is literally just a reflection of yourself. So that's what I really want them to understand, that you're not a victim in this system. You're actually a very powerful creator.
Yeah, and I can't wait to dive into this. But first, I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of scared to check your profile on Instagram. Like, I am normally quite good, I go in, I do what I need, and I leave. I don't really, I'm not in I don't get into the doom scroll. Um, but your stuff sucks me in. Your
Oh, thank you.
energy is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful, elegant, calm, and very powerful.
Oh, thank you so much. I find that like, when you're starting out, you are a people pleaser, and you sort of like just go with the flow. You're always trying to sort of either copy someone or you've got all these people telling you to do it this way or do it that way. And then you realize as you grow and you understand what this game of life is really all about. It's about being your true authentic self. And one thing I've realized that you can't fake the truth, and the words that you speak, the real truth will resonate with your soul because we are, spiritual beings having a very human experience. So the words that resonate with you, they will hit you in a core where other things won't. So, and that's what really this whole journey of awakening is all about. So, yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, even today I was going through your videos. They are amazing, and the length is really good, and the content, but most importantly, if I say conviction, it doesn't even reflect what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, no, I appreciate that because it's like it's taken me a long time to be this person that's sitting here today. I have to admit, life is a journey, as we know, and we're always trying to say things to resonate or, to think that we're scared to a degree to show our true selves of being judged or being rejected. And now I just don't care. Like for me, I'm speaking my truth in the way that comes to me and through me so that I can help other people because that's what we're all here for. So I just try to speak it in my authentic voice. So whatever comes to me and is coming through me, I try to put it in a way that other people might be able to relate to it.
Yeah, and it shows. So,
Thank you.
um, so you mentioned it took you a long time, right? And it probably started somewhere or
Yeah.
from something.
Yes.
Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because as
100%.
you know, stories is what people learn from the most.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So I never started this as a business. I never wanted to do it as a business at all. Really, if I was honest, I started this to try and help myself because I was so broken, I was so messed that I just didn't know where else to, like, I was looking for answers all the time to find out why life was being the way it was. Why did I keep creating these really painful experiences and what was wrong with me? So I went on this search. It started off like when I was younger. Obviously, I mean, I don't know where to begin with all this. Do I begin at my story, or do I begin at what would be more beneficial to your readers about why it actually happened? What would you prefer?
Well, as you know, my community are women mostly, and
Yes,
it's very convoluted for women entrepreneurs, women who are trying to create life on their terms because they are in difficult situations very often. So, we talk
yes,
about purpose, we talk about passion, we talk about goals and those kind of things, and that is beautiful and that is needed. But what I
yes,
have noticed that so many women are, and you actually use that word, endure. They are
yes,
just enduring. And when we talk about self development or personal growth, I noticed that so many women are only surviving,
yeah,
let alone growing, even though they
yes,
know they think they're doing that to grow their businesses,
yeah,
right? But the situations they are in are very often quite tough. So
yeah.
I guess the reference point could be some sort of situation where you found or started finding a solution for yourself.
Yeah. So, okay, so going back, I was in very, a lot of abuse in my life, mental, physical, and emotional abuse. So that's where it started. So the separation was when I was younger, that I was always told that I wasn't good enough, that I was unworthy, that I was dirty and disgusting. So if you think about like a child, when you're a child, every single thing that you see, feel, and hear, you make a definition about it, you give it meaning. So the meaning I gave to it all was, I must be a really bad person. I must be unlovable. What am I doing wrong? So that was the meaning I kept giving to all these life experiences. So that then went on to every person that I met, every situation that I got myself into. Life can only reflect back to me what I really believed about myself. So everyone kept reflecting back to
Mm.
me that you're no good, you know that you can't cut it, that everything you say is rubbish. So it because life is just a mirror to you. So but then if you strip that back just a tiny little bit, the reason why people are so in such a mess nowadays is because we haven't got the foundations of who we truly are. So we are spiritual beings here on a very human experience, but we pick our situations before we come here. And I know a lot of people won't like that, but we do. So as a soul, we're here on our soul's evolution journey. We're here to awaken to ourselves. So I realized that I chose to feel pain and suffering when I came here. Because how can you teach other people to eliminate pain and suffering or to get over pain and suffering if you haven't experienced it from every aspect? So that's what I chose. So now when people come to me and they say to me, well, you can't do this, you can't heal your body. No, you can, because I healed mine in 36 hours. Oh, you can't achieve that. No, you can, because it was a limitation placed upon myself by myself. So it's not even the other people. So what I really want to teach people today is, and try to give a little bit of insight, that it doesn't matter about your circumstances. It doesn't matter if you're locked up in a room. It doesn't matter. None of that is important. It's your state of being that is important. When you align yourself, when you learn to master your mind and emotions, you can transform any situation around you because you're creating it all. So the same consciousness that's created it in the first place can recreate it. That's how powerful we truly are. And that's what we have been taught to forget about ourselves.
So did you run into something? Did something click for you?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so when I was 4 years old, I kept having this repeated vision. And this vision used to, I mean, my representation then, because I was brought up in a very spiritual home. So we used to go to church a lot. So it was Jesus, my interpretation of God, Moses, all the greats would be standing around me, and they'd have a plaque, and on the plaque it would be, "Mimi, you are the chosen one." And my parents used to say, "Do never tell anyone that you're going mad." But I realized we create all these situations to help us, to remind us along the way. So we forget to see the signs because the signs are always around us that we
Mm.
have placed before we get here, but we go unconscious, so we forget, and then we go into this victim mode. So I always had that as a anchor. But then along the way, after I had experienced some really painful experiences, and I decided to take my life because I couldn't cope with a lot of the things that had happened to me at the time. It was quite tragic. But then even in the attempts that I try to sort of like, do things to myself, it never worked. And I was like, well, why wouldn't it work? What is it that's keeping me here? And I realized there had to be a greater reason. And then I started really surrendering to a lot of things. So I stopped searching. So at the beginning, I was searching for all these answers. I trained as a Reiki specialist, emotional freedom. I trained in hypnosis. I trained in NLP, you name it, business coaching. I trained in everything because I was trying to really unpack myself. And maybe for a week it would work, or a few days I feel better about myself. But the same issues keep coming up, the same reflections, the same problems. So that's when I really went deeper, and it was more of a spiritual path there. And when I did do that, a lot of then the answers come to you, the people come to you, the books will come to you. When you surrender and ask, everything will come to you to awaken, to show you the path for yourself. But it can only come in reference to what you are able to receive at the time. That's the difference. So you can have the answers immediately, straight away, but are you ready to receive it? That's the difference.
Right. So was there a specific thing? Like I'm curious, what was the specific thing that came to you?
So I remember, okay, I hate saying trigger warnings for people, but I remember I was sitting in a car and I literally couldn't take any more. And I didn't know what I was doing wrong. So I decided that I was going to take my life in that moment. And in that moment, when I tried, something very strange happened. I had an earring in my ear and it was of a tulip. And the earring fell out immediately onto my lap, and it looked like Jesus on the cross. It was the tulip head with the stems coming out. And in that moment, I heard some voices, and it kept saying, "You are the chosen one. It is not your time." And in that moment, I know it sounds really crazy, but I had a realization that there's something so much more to me than what I'd been told. There was something within me that was trying to communicate with me, and that's really where I had a complete transformation, a change. My life completely changed from that moment forward.
Very interesting. And those internal experiences, that's when you know
Yeah.
that it's true, right?
Yeah,
And
most definitely.
this industry, entrepreneurship, business industry in general, I've been in this for years now. And at the start of my journey, I was so much into that, I call it mainstream
Yeah.
mindset,
Yeah.
training,
Yeah.
trying, to overcome problems through modifying my behavior, disciplining myself,
Yeah.
and but I always felt that there's something off, and
Yeah.
then I'm not being my most powerful me.
Yeah.
However, it's like there was no way I can pinpoint where is that connection? How do things
Yeah.
connect,
Yeah.
So how do you, if somebody is in that place, how can they start? Let's say, okay, I can wait for a year or two for things to come to for insights to happen. But what if they don't? But I do believe that this is the true
Yeah.
path. What can I do to
Yeah.
arrive
Well, the
there?
truth Yeah, the truth is that every single one of us is intuitive, we're clairvoyant, we all have these abilities. Every single one of us. We're all healers. We can heal ourselves, we can heal others. We all have that ability, but we have just been taught that we haven't. So it's all the noise that is around us. Like we're constantly searching for an answer externally. We're constantly going to another course or someone else, or we're looking for another book, where really we just need to be able to sit with ourselves, because the minute you sit with yourselves, most people don't want to hear themselves because they're afraid of what will come through. So they're always distracting themselves on social media, or you'll sit down and it's like, oh, got to go make the dinner. Oh, I did I turn the tap off? Like
Hmm.
you constantly fighting against yourself. But it's about just literally, and it's not about meditating. Meditating, a lot of people say to me, I've meditated for a year and a half and nothing's working. I'm like, well, why are you meditating then? It's not your thing. All it is that some of my clients, they might go bike riding, or they might go for a walk in nature, or they might go swimming. It's whatever you find that relaxes your mind and body, that gives
Mm.
you an opportunity to open yourself up, to stop the noise, to stop your mind and the chit chatter going on. So then the you if and again how you speak to yourself, but the answers are all waiting to come to you. The help is all around you. You're just not asking for it, and we're not asking in the right way. So that when people pray, it's always like, oh my God, Heavenly Father, like help me. I need money, I need healing. But that doesn't work. You have to command it, because creation is complete and so are you. So, what are you commanding and declaring into your life? Because if you really stopped and listened to yourself, 9 times out of 10, you are always working against yourself. You're not working for you. The way you speak, the way you feel, the way you act. If you literally stopped and you're like, oh my God, did I just say that? I never get a break. Everybody's always mean to me. Like nothing good ever happens to me. We're always saying it to ourselves, like, why are you not helping me? It's just our conversations, but those conversations is all energy. And whatever you are emitting from yourself, you're emitting a signal. And that signal is your vibration. And whatever is on that vibrational level will come back into your life. It's simple, but it's hard in everyday life because there is so much noise around us.
Yeah, so true. And you mentioned that you started this without thinking about doing business, right? When did you
Definitely.
when did you realize that, oh, actually it is a business?
Well, I realized, the day that I realized was I was in India and I was just sitting in a pool and I was reading I think it was a Louise Hay book at the time, 30 years ago. And when I was in the pool, this man came and swam into me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and he came up and he said, oh, really sorry. Great book. And I said, yeah, it is. I was very embarrassed. But we just started talking. And he started saying that he'd been in therapy for 15 years. And I was like, wow. I said, what? And it was a very innocent conversation because I wasn't doing any of this then. And I just said to him, well, why have you been in therapy? Oh, I just really hate my life and this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I asked him the most stupidest questions like, well, what do you want in your life? Well, I just want to go off and enjoy it. Well, why are you not doing it? Well, because blah, blah, blah. I said, well, what if that wasn't an issue? What if blah? And he just looked at me and he's like, just a light bulb went off in his head. And literally about an hour later, he came back with a big bottle of champagne. And he said to me, what was your name? And I said, Mimi Bland. And he said, you're definitely not bland. And he said, you transformed my life in this one conversation. I want you to know. And I was like, what did I say? What did I say? And that was
Right.
happening to me everywhere I was going.
Mm.
Somebody wanted to have a baby and they were told they were infertile. Within 3 months, she had a baby and she named her after me. Loads of different bits and pieces were happening. And I was like, maybe I'm here and I need to share this stuff. Maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's about helping other people. And that's when it really started. It sort of grew from there.
Did you ever feel when you were starting it to do
Mm.
for money, did you ever feel not enough?
Oh gosh. Oh,
Do you
terrible.
still feel not enough?
No, definitely not now.
Mm.
100%. No, at the beginning, 100%. Like everything I do was for free. I couldn't stand charging anyone because it was like not spiritual. And God had given me this
Mm.
work to help others. But then I realized something very important. But all the people I was helping for free wasn't changing. They were not implementing anything. So even if I was working with someone that was homeless or somebody that had no money, there had to be an exchange. And they
Mm.
always had to either give me some flowers that they picked from the field or they have to do something. Because I realized that free advice is no advice at all. People do not
Mm.
implement it. And I don't know why, but when people pay, they pay attention and they really implement it into their lives. So I realized I was actually doing no good at all. I was just talking blah, 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 but it wasn't actually helping anybody. So that's when I started. And again, it was my own sense of identity. I didn't feel worthy to charge. And I remember I went on a radio show, great friend of mine now, a lady, oh, sorry, yeah, she's an amazing lady, Annette, an amazing friend of mine, but she had me on her radio show and I thought it was just us talking, just the two of us. And she brought two other coaches on from America. I was having a meltdown in the green room, like literally nearly crying, because I was listening to these other two people talking and I was like, oh my God, like, who am I? Like, I'm gonna make myself look so stupid. But obviously it was a fear of being rejected. What are the people going to be seeing me as? And then after the show, she said to me, "You had the best reviews." But after that show, I went upstairs and I really beat myself up, something terrible. I called myself so many disgusting names, but I felt it. And I heard myself saying that. And from that moment on, I vowed I would never ever speak to myself like that again because it was just old conditioning. It's what other people had told me that came up in those moments of fear. So yeah, 100%. That when you change your identity, how you see and feel about yourself, everything starts to change for you.
If somebody is really in a bad place, how can they start seeing themselves? I've been in places where I couldn't, like,
Yeah,
to be very honest, I just couldn't. And
yeah,
even if I somehow knew it existed, I
yes,
couldn't step into it for some reason.
yeah.
So how do you
It's
start?
very hard.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very hard because when you are told on a daily basis, especially from being a child, that you are unworthy, you're all like you're just not good enough, that you'll never be good enough. And like, I used to get shown pictures of women, and this is what a real woman looks like. That's not you. You're never going to be that. So those imprints that they're really sketched, they're stuck in your system, into your body. But over time, do you know what I find the greatest thing is that your truth will always set you free. Because when you are creating and building on the foundations of other people's lies, other people's perceptions of you, it's very hard to change that. But when you're building on the foundations of your truth, that you are worthy, you've always been worthy, that you are beautiful exactly as you are limitless. That from those truths, when they embody you and when you really absorb them, it counteracts all the other lies that you've been told. So it's not about trying to fix yourself. It's about going back to basis, understanding the truth of your being, who you truly are as the creator that you came here to be. And when you build on those truths, then you're always going to have triggers. There's always going to be people that are going to come to represent. Every single person is only a reflection of you to show you
Mm.
how you really feel about yourself. So if that person comes to you and they trigger you or they upset you, it's like they're showing you an aspect of yourself because if you didn't believe in what they were telling you, you couldn't get triggered. So it's like, what are they reflecting back to you? Like, oh, I don't feel good enough, or why are they all hating me? No, where are you hating yourself? Because when you understand they're just a reflection, and you understand most of the times what you see in them is what they fear about themselves also. So when you can thank the reflection rather than react to it, not only are you passing that test and you are elevating yourself so you don't have to go through it again, you're actually helping them to love themselves as well, because that's what we're all here for. Very complicated when you're talking about it, but it's much easier when you start putting it into practice.
Hmm. Yeah,
So the
that
first step to answer your question would be to have awareness, to really start becoming aware of yourself and how you react, how you respond, and how you see things, because it's the
mm,
meaning that you're giving to everything that's creating your life experiences for you.
yeah, something clicked for me at some point when I received this idea that I'm not the effect, I'm the cause.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah,
You know, I think a lot of, the difficulty comes from the fact that when we grow in our childhood, we are not aware of these things. And we
yeah.
get programmed and conditioned. And then a lot of that work is to remove all that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, people always say like you have to fight and you're going into a battle. No, you have to surrender. It's about releasing, it's about letting go. It's not about going and getting, it's allowing. That's what the mistake people make, and the whole of life is only about the relationship that you have with yourself. So if you forget about making the money, if you forget about healing your body, it's about the relationship that you have with you. And when you really
Mm.
start loving yourself and honoring yourself and getting you, and so that your body feels safe, because our body is always in survival, it lives of fear. So when you learn to love yourself, cuddle yourself, tell yourself, no, it's all okay, you're doing really well, praise yourself. How many times do you praise yourself, the little things that you do? And I always ask people as well, like, what is it that you want as well? Because 9 times out of 10, people don't actually know what they want. They say, well, I want the money. But what do you want money for? Well, because then I'll be
Mm.
free. Free from what? What is it? Because you're born free. What is it you want? Well, if I have money, then people will respect me. And so really some of the things that we chase and that we go for, we don't actually want them if we're honest. We want the feeling it's going to give us, and we want the acknowledgement from other people. So when you feel that void inside of yourself, everything that you want will come to you anyway because you no longer need it. So you're not pushing it away, if that makes sense.
I think your grandchild is here. Yes, Nanny Mimi. There's a comment. And then
Okay.
also there is and then someone else as well. So we have viewers.
Hey, Susie.
Cool.
Thank you.
I so you know about me. I teach people strategies and methods and sales and that kind of stuff. So it's all it you might think it's all structure, but because I focus a lot on leverage, I focus a lot on delivering as much value as possible to the market the fastest possible so that you create that leverage and you uh, reduce the number of moves, but
Yes.
increase the potency of those moves. For
Yeah.
women, especially busy women, we can talk a lot about our society and how women are carrying all the four corners and how they are trying to create that life and they can't because they are capped by that life, the very life they are trying to change.
Yeah.
And so interesting when I started digging in these things, right? In leverage and whatever, you want it or not, you run into things where you have to connect with yourself in a way more powerful way because that's where you find the value you
Yeah,
know
most
if
definitely. Yeah.
you can push through the frameworks and strategies and do an
Mhm.
okay job. It's do an okay job, but if you want to go really powerfully in the market in your business with way fewer
Yeah.
moves, There you go.
Yes,
You need to connect with
yeah,
yourself, with the universe, with whatever you call it, with the field, infinite intelligence. And the
definitely.
most beautiful thing is that it's always there with you, you
Yeah.
know?
Constantly. It's like, oh, every day it's tapping you. You know, we sit there and we ask a question like, oh, how's this ever going to change? Like, I just don't know what to do. And then a van will come past and it'll stop right in front of you and it will say, just believe in yourself. And you'll look at the van, you won't even notice it because you're not tuned into looking for the signs. The answers are always around you, like you are the answer. I wrote the book, The Answer Is You, because the answer, the problem, and the solution is you. And that gives you your power back. That means it doesn't matter what is happening in your life at the moment. Where you are in your life right this second is only a representation of where you have been placing your focus and where you think and feel and the collective beliefs that you have bought into. But when you detach from all of that, life is limitless. I mean, it is
Mm,
literally how far can you expand your imagination to be able to create anything that you want
mm,
to create? It's like
mm.
we are limitless. It is literally we put the ceiling on ourselves. You look at Richard Bandler, was it the 3 minute mile that was it the I'm going to say that wrong, but the race that he won. But then when he broke that record, everybody was breaking it like within seconds because he showed people what was capable. So when you like set a different agenda for yourself, when you set an intention of what you want, stop playing small as well. Everyone plays so small, and we do put a lot of stipulations in place, especially for women, because we have the children to look after, we have our parents to look after, the shopping, the house. We have all these things that we need to create, but it's not time because time really is an illusion. It's the amount of focus that you place on what you want to achieve. And really it's about the dedication that you're going to give to that focus. Because if you keep saying it's not working, it's not going to happen, you could work literally 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week, and make as much money as someone that's working 7 days a week. It's all about focus and intention and belief and what you believe to be true for yourself. So if you think it's going to be hard, it will be hard. If you believe it's going to be easy and that everything you comes to you easily, it will come to you easily. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked what you said about infinite imagination. And also, what I like about your message, in your videos, is about creating a new reality. And from
Mm.
the marketing and strategies point of view, I would say like 99% of the industry, they are fixing the existing broken,
Yeah.
sliding,
Yeah, definitely.
shaky
Yeah,
reality
yeah,
where
yeah.
that somebody else created.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
like saying,
100%.
nothing created by a man or people is a fact.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
we do,
definitely.
right? We create a new
Yeah.
reality. The thing is, in
Yeah.
my case, right, that there are still strategies that either leak your creation and your imagination or help amplify,
Yeah.
because you
Definitely.
still need
Yeah.
to deliver value, what we call value, to the market.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah. And the difference and the difference with us is that we have gone through all those strategies, all those scenarios. So what we've done now is that we've stripped it bare. So when people come to us, this is going to work. Like, everything, every single thing in life is a placebo. I just want to say that because there's so many people out
mm,
there that, write, comment this, and you can age, you can reverse aging by 20 years. Write this, I've got the frequency, I've got this, I've got the blueprint. There is no one blueprint, there is no one structure, there is no one healing. It's what you believe, it's what you accept and believe and surrender to. So when I healed myself, the strategy I used at that time, being 10 years bulimic, every part of my body had broken down. I learned in the Bible that creation was complete. So if creation was complete, that meant I was whole and complete. So what was I doing to stop the healing or to stop my happiness or to stop myself having what I wanted. When I realized that, I commanded and declared in the name, I just said with the power that was invested within me, fully claimed it, that believe me, leave my body right here, right now. Within 36 hours, I had no trace of bulimia left in my body, and I couldn't even think about wanting to eat or anything else. My body started reversing. I went back to it because I met one of my abusers who used to have trigger words and triggered me to go back. When I went back to try to use the same technique, I wasn't the same person anymore. So it didn't
Mm.
work for me in that moment because in that moment I put full faith and belief in that mirror work, but it wouldn't work the second time. So I then had to go back and work on myself. And once I understood, no, that's not my truth, and I released it, then bulimia left again and it never came back again. So it can be instantaneous. My body healed instantaneously. It doesn't take years, is what we believe to be true. So every single thing is a placebo. So if you can just remember that, like all the people that are selling you stuff, it's great, but find the people that have really done the work that can break the steps down for you. Because we do need steps. The universe, there are laws to the universe. And when you learn how to play with them, then life will become easier. But keep going to all these different aspects. I mean, you have to go to the teachers that you're ready to. So sometimes people need to take 10 years or 15 years. Sometimes you can change instantaneously, but it's you that gives yourself the permission to either have what you want or not. So the blockage is within you. It's your identity. So it's about you changing who you are and how you see and feel about yourself.
I love it that you said that you still need the steps because what I'm saying, okay, so there's this um, pushy and forceful way of building business and the industry. That's my claim. The industry
Yeah,
has been shaped on
yeah,
that, right? But then there
definitely.
is this other side of, emerging side of industry where people claim that you don't need any steps, you don't need any strategy, right? What do you have to say about that?
No, I mean, okay, the steps and the strategies, it's all about yourself, as we know. But I have a very strict routine every single day. So there are steps. There's steps for you to be able to keep yourself focused and disciplined. If you don't need those, then great. If you're the sort of person that doesn't need those, not everybody does, but I'd say most people do. All the clients that I work with, they follow a very strategic routine. Like in the morning, what you do, the protocol in the
Mm,
morning before you even open your eyes, before you get out of bed, to the time that you are walking, no
right.
phone, no distractions, no emails, because whatever you're allowing into that vibration, you are creating your day with it. So there are specific things to help you to awaken and to align to your truth. So yeah, I'd say there are steps in life, like you said, we all need to have steps and guidance to, because otherwise you'll just go off all the time. And there's so much noise and distraction, it will swamp you in. So if you don't program yourself, the world will program you, and that's a fact.
It's so, and I'm kind of laughing, because when you were talking about the morning and before you open your eyes, somebody would say, "Are you people totally crazy? Your routine starts before you even
Yeah.
open your eyes." You know, it's like, and right? Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm using the moment where my brain is in alpha waves and things like
But
that.
most people wake up, and as soon as they wake up, I know so many people, they're straight on their phone, checking out Instagram, checking out what everyone's doing, logging into the
Yeah.
world, the war, they're this, they're that. That's what they're bringing into their reality. That's what they have to understand. Nothing. nothing, and I don't care, like, I mean, all this stuff on the news at the minute about COVID, the wars, and all this stuff, nothing can come into your reality unless you first invite it by thought, first of all. So if you do not put your attention on that, if you don't focus on that, it can't become part of your life. And people get saying, well, of course it is, because it's out there. No, it's in the 3D reality, but you can live in a different reality. Like you said earlier, we can time jump. There's billions of other possibilities that we can go to on a daily basis. You created a life that you don't like, then go on to another timeline, recreate it how you want to. We're doing that every second. We just don't know that we're doing it because we're looking at our lives and thinking, oh, nothing's changed. The crap relationship's still there, still no money in the bank, still the people are still being rude to me, but it's because you haven't given it time. So you have to give that vibration a chance to change the reality that's going on around you. It happens all the time. I love it. And I work with my clients and they have some amazing results. It's so true.
Same. And you know what? Actually, for busy moms, for
Mm.
who are running a business, but they, the way they talk, and especially men, about their morning routine that takes 1 hour, whatever, like, listen, like I'm like just one quick story, when I was in a mindset group of years ago, and the guys were talking about the 5 a.m. club. And my daughter was
Yeah.
still getting up a few times at night. Like I'm already
Yeah.
like had been up a few times, So I remember I actually said, guys, when my daughter starts sleeping through the night, I sleep in for another year and then I'm gonna join your club. But you know what really helped me as well? Like, okay, so I don't have any time. But then when I realized I can actually create a routine, like have something little I do over just a few minutes while I'm
Yeah,
still
definitely.
in bed,
Yeah,
you
definitely. It
know.
doesn't take a long time. Like it's not the time element. It's the fact of the protocol. It's the setting up your day before you wake up, and then it's setting up your moments. It's throughout the day checking in on yourself. Are you reacting? Are you responding? It's literally just being aware of yourself and having a protocol so that you're keeping yourself on track, so that whatever's coming to you in that moment, if something happens and you're like, oh my God, like, and you do get a jolt or you do get triggered or something, you're like, oh, okay, that's just a representation of my old frequency. It's not true. I can change it. So it's just giving it's putting you in the driving seat all the time. So you stop responding to life and you start commanding it and you start getting life to obey to you because you realize it's just a reflection of yourself. But though when you start doing it, this is what I tell people. Everyone says, oh, I don't have time. You do have time. You have time to go on to Celebrity Big Brother and all that rubbish. Everyone has time if you want to. But once you start applying it to your life and you start consciously seeing your reality change, then you start getting excited. Like we all start off with the little parking spaces and we're like, we command a parking space and we get there and we're like, oh, nothing's happened. Then 2 minutes later, a car goes and you pull in, you're like, oh, I done that because we're not aware that we're actually doing it. And as you start having these synchronicities, you're like, okay, let's see what we can create here. Let's play with the energy. Let's really start learning how to manipulate the energy to work for us, because I always keep this pot. I keep this pot of my grandchildren think it's for them, but I'm like, get out my office. I keep this pot of clay in my office because life is like this clay. So it's malleable. It's you can form this Play-Doh and this clay to any shape you want to. But when you focus on the situation in hand, especially if it's a situation that you don't want, the clay becomes hard and it becomes unmanageable. It becomes, you can't manipulate it. But when you realize that it's malleable and it's a game, then you learn to play with it and you start looking at it as nothing is right and wrong. It's just an experience. It's what you choose it to be. So when you can look at it that way and think, okay, I didn't like that experience. I didn't like the way they spoke. Let me recreate it. Because when you go to bed at night time again, you have the opportunity to rewrite your day. that's how powerful you are. It's not, it doesn't mean you're going to wake up in the morning and next minute you're with Mr. Darcy or someone in bed next to you. It doesn't mean your husband's going to disappear or something, but it just means that you get to change the energy and the vibration that you're emitting into the universe.
So tell me, when you found these things, did life change overnight? Did you change overnight?
Yeah, no, I can honestly say it's a process. For
Yeah.
me at that time, and for me, even still today, like we all have, life is a journey, it never ends. So for me, I had such low self-worth. I had such low self-esteem. I hated, if I could say, I hated who I was. I hated my reflection in the mirror to the point I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I hated it because a lot of things that had happened. I thought I was so disgusting as a person. I had such disgust for myself. So it took me longer to actually start breaking that down. And it's been a journey because people think like when you get to a certain position, when you have the money or you have the car or you have the man or whatever you want, then you're going to finally be happy. No, life will represent you as something
Mhm.
else because the journey doesn't end. It's constantly unfolding. But you understand as the journey goes on, actually, do you know, I actually really do love myself. And I don't care anymore like what people think about me. I actually like who I am. I like the way I dress, I like the way I look. You start accepting yourself and then it feels so good. And then you realize actually I don't need the man, I don't need the car, I don't need the money, I don't need anything to make me happy. I feel whole and complete. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. But that's when those things come to you because you don't need them anymore. So
Mhm.
that's when life just suddenly seems to fall into place more.
It's so funny, right? That as when you decide that you don't need someone to like you, right? Then they start liking you. Look at your following, you know?
It's so true. Every relationship, and I get some women, especially women, write to me like, "I need to get my SP back." I'm like, "What's your SP?" My
What's
special person back, like special person.
right?
We split up and they rejected me. I said, "No, they're not rejecting you. You're rejecting yourself. They're just showing you that you feel unworthy about yourself. So you're rejecting yourself. But why do you want somebody to come back?" That was only a representation to show you of the work you need to do yourself. So when you actually start loving yourself, listening to yourself, not sort of doing anything so that other people will love and accept you, then like you said, you become the magnet. Things will come to you. I say to people like, what is it that you want to have from a business? Well, I want to be the best in business, but why? Well, because then I'll get respect and everybody will look at me like, I'm sort of like X amount of years old. I've got this hot man on my arm or this hot woman on my arm. What for? Well, because people will love and I will get admiration from people. But really, what it is that you just want to admire yourself. You just want to have approval of yourself. And it's like when you strip it all back, all of life is about just loving yourself, really, and finding yourself, returning back to yourself, and then realizing that you can create anything, but create from a place of truth rather than from a place of pain and suffering. So and be authentically honest to yourself because the amount of people I've worked with that wanted to be doctors, nurses, lawyers, they didn't want that at all. But it was their parents' expectations or cultural expectations. So they were never happy. And there was always feeling a discord and real unhappiness inside themselves. And when you say, well, what do you want to do? Oh, I've always wanted to travel around the world or, play music. Well, go and do that. Well, I can't because there's no money and, people won't take me seriously. So it's just about really listening to yourself and being true to what you truly want, not what other people want for you.
Yeah, for a second, I felt a little sad listening to you because it kind of hit me in a new way that most work is just it's bouncing those external
Yeah,
that external conditioning, whatever is coming at us
yeah,
all the time,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Until maybe there is a tipping point, right, where you are, comfortable with yourself enough or know yourself enough for those
yeah.
things to sort of like bounce by themselves, right? But you need to get to that point somehow.
Yeah, you do. You know, for me, again, it's like I don't listen. People say you live a very Pollyanna lifestyle. Maybe I do, but I don't listen to the news. I don't watch TV. I don't read the newspapers. I don't interact with anything negative in the world because I choose what the reality in the world that I want to live in. So if people are all living in fear, if they're living like, they're believing the hype that's being, put out there again. I don't buy into it. You know, for me, I live like an 8-year-old child. I skip along the road, I go to the park, I do things that are childlike. Because, when did who taught us that we had to be serious and grow up? You know, take your shoes and socks off and walk in muddy puddles. And people are like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with you? But have fun. Life is supposed to be an adventure and we're here to have fun. But we make it so serious along the way. And that's where I think it's quite sad. I work with a lot of people that have made a lot of money. And all they want to do now is just to give it all away because all it's done is brought them pain and suffering because they thought it was going to make them feel something that they got there and it didn't. Because they lost themselves along the way, and that's all it is. Like money is amazing in the right hands. You can do so much good with it. But why do you want it? That's the trouble. If you want it for power or if you want it to control, then it's never going to make you happy.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you ended up having that much money, right? The money, is
Yeah.
it the natural result of your work
Yeah.
in the world, or is it the main object that you were going after and grinding and
Yeah.
forcing strategies and I don't know. I'm a copywriter too, so I mean you can do an
Yeah.
amazing job with words, with just words,
Yeah.
come up with little
Yeah.
phrases and everything. You can do
Yeah.
that, to an extent.
Hmm. Most definitely. And a lot of people as well, we have been taught in this society that unless you have, the house, the car, the dog, the husband, the wife, the children, then you're incomplete. But really, we all came here. Our soul knows what we want. And because we are constantly overriding it, we don't find that happiness. We stay in the wrong relationships. We stay with the wrong people. We create the wrong businesses because we think we need to have the money to pay for these things. But internally, our soul is screaming, like, no, you're going down the wrong path. That's not what I want. So you'll never ever be happy because that little knock, it will never leave you alone. It will constantly keep reminding you, you're on the wrong path. You're on the wrong path. Make a U-turn. Listen to yourself because our emotions are literally like sat navigation systems. They're constantly trying to communicate with you to bring you back on your truth, to bring you back on your path. And the minute you're back on your path, the doors open, things start becoming easier so that it doesn't become like you're, trying to go up the sand, the hill in sand. Things start happening for you because you're being authentic to what you came here to experience.
Could you share some of the things that you do as part of your routine, let's say in the morning, in the evening, maybe things you try to think of,
Yeah.
or is there anything you could share?
Yeah, so in the morning before I get up, before I like even put my, I don't touch my phone, I don't do anything. I just lay in bed on my back and I just breathe. Because remember, breath is what was the first thing that God gave us when He created us. So our breath is the most important thing in our bodies. It calms you down, it regulates you, it literally fires and wires your coding, your every chakra in your body, it realigns it. So I breathe very in for 4, I hold it for 8, and then I release it for 8. Sorry, I breathe in for 4, hold it for 6, release it for 8. So that is just getting my body and my mind in a cohesive state. Then when I'm in that state, I just give thanks. So I just thank God for the life I have, for the things that I have, the things that make me happy. It could just be the birds in the garden or my grandchildren or whatever it is that makes me grateful. Grateful for my breath, grateful for another day to express myself, to live this amazing life. So I just have gratitude. And then when I'm in that amazing state, then I replay what I want to achieve, what I want to create. So it's a very small clip. It might be because most people, when they learn to visualize, they're trying to visualize the thing that they're going to reject. So it's like if you already had the thing that you want, it would be normal to you. It would be so boring because you've already achieved it. So what would you
That's
be
it.
doing? So for me, I'm usually sitting on the couch thinking, well, what am I going to do today? Shall I write another book? It's as simple as that. Or I've signed that eight-figure contract. So what do I want to do now? Might go for a walk. It's easy. It's boring. We're always trying to think about, people say, oh, think about like get the feeling up, get the feeling up. But that's not natural. If you're like, oh my God, you say high five, that wouldn't be natural. It's after the event because creation is complete. You've already achieved it. So what would you be doing? You might be going to bake a cake or, making a ham sandwich or something. So
Mm.
keep it simple. And then after that, after I've seen the vision and I've felt it and I've embodied it, I get up and I'll go and have a shower. Then I go into my gym and I'll do a light workout, but still no telephone, nothing. When I'm on my treadmill or having a walk on my treadmill, it's like I'm doing a meditation. I literally can now completely empty my mind out. I see a white light coming through me. I'm literally just immersed in that. I could just say like heaven. To me, it's like heaven. It's the most happiest place I've ever been. I just breathe and I just let go. And then all these visions come to me. Things will come to you. So everyone has their own experiences. But when I work with my clients, I teach them the morning protocol before they wake up, before they even touch their telephone to give gratitude, then to set the intention for the day, or what do you want that day to be like? I only want to see beautiful things today, or whatever it is, set your intention for the day. Or I want my meetings to go easily, like all the people I meet today are all going to be harmonious and loving. Then go about your day, but still, I never touch my phone or emails for the first hour because I integrate it. Because the minute you go downstairs or
Yeah.
something happens, you're back in reality again. You black out. So then you have to keep bringing yourself back in. So, and then throughout the day, I check in on myself. How am I thinking? How am I feeling? Or something happens and it's quite significant because the only times you really get triggered is if it means something to you. And it's usually family members or people that are close to you. So if something happens and it's like a reaction to one of my family situations, I remind myself circumstances do not matter. It's only my state of being. So what state of being do I prefer right here, right in this moment? If I go to the person that I already am and the person that I want to create, or I'm living that life, how would she think and feel in this moment? Well, this would mean nothing to her because it's only a reflection of my old vibration. So it's just a reflection. So I'm constantly keeping myself in check. And then throughout the day, I'm just loving life. I keep it very simple. I just go for walks, so I do my work, but I only do things that bring me immense happiness as well. So if you're doing things that you're happy to do, you're being creative. If you're doing stuff that you hate, then stop doing it. Get off the subject or try to sub that out to someone. Stay in your creative flow. And then in the evening, before I go to bed, I go to bed. And if there's something I didn't like, I rewrite it. If there was a situation or if it was one of my family members or one of my children or one of my sons, I've had a conversation and I didn't like it, I'll replay it so exactly how I wanted it to be. I'll see us laughing and holding and kissing each other or having a cup of tea somewhere, or I rewrite that day and then I go to sleep because I'm shifting the energy. If I went to bed and I was replaying all the doom and gloom of the day, you're going to wake up and you're going to be in that same vibrational pattern. So it's all about you understanding that this is all just about a signal that you're emitting. And when you get hold of the signal, anything that's on that wavelength, on that vibration, is going to come back into your life.
I was getting goosebumps actually a few times listening to you, and there is no specific logical reason why, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so, and it's so simple, right?
So simple. I like to keep the word like keep it like kiss. Kiss, they used to say, I know that they've got the word, I think it's keep it simple, keep it
Keep
simple,
it stupid
stupid, but I
simple,
say
yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
changed that to keep it spiritually simple because we are spiritual beings and life is really simple. When you strip it all away, when you stop trying to be someone and you allow yourself just to have fun, to be the creator, to go out and have fun, the more you allow yourself to have fun, the more your life is going to change for you. Stop fixing the
Yeah.
situation.
People create problems and then they create
Yeah.
businesses to solve them.
Yeah, they do. But again, a lot of people, and I just like to touch on this as well, because a lot of people don't mention this. The reason why people create problems for themselves is because they're still sometimes we're living karmic expressions. So our bodies have karmic imprints. So for instance, if you had always been in a situation, I've noticed that people that are, say, like one lady I worked with the other day, I was talking to her. So she kept sabotaging her own happiness. Every time she tried to make money, she would sabotage it and she wouldn't allow herself to make any more. But then when we went back and we were talking about family bits and pieces and just through her own vocabulary, I realized that from years ago, and even in her family patterns, all the women in her family were very wealthy. But they met men that stripped them bare, naked, like literally took everything away from them. So money associated with pain. So they didn't want to make any more money because it would mean they were going to suffer and have immense pain. So sometimes we block ourselves. For instance, like a lady I work with who wanted to have a baby, and she'd been on HRT and all these different chemicals trying to conceive for 5 years. Now, I knew that it wasn't an internal problem. I knew it was an internal blockage. So when I found out about her work and what she'd done, she had no room in her life to have a baby. Plus, she didn't trust her husband because they'd had a matrimonial event that something that had happened years ago. So she still had that fear that he would leave her. So when we sorted that out within her, when she felt safe and she realized that she could have a baby and change that whole internal representation, she fell pregnant within 3 months. So every single thing, there's a reason why we stop ourselves. And it's usually because we fear that something's going to happen to us, something bad, or that we haven't got the capacity to have that thing because we're not worthy of having it, or something bad will happen to us. Or remember when we was a child, our father left us because, if you fall in love, then you're going to get hurt because men do. So it's all the beliefs and the meaning that we give to everything. And whatever you believe is going to be your mechanism. The universe has to prove to you that what you believe to be true for you has to come about. So that it's just reflecting you constantly.
Yeah, the universe is just reflecting. Unfortunately, it's reflecting on things that you don't even know very
Yeah.
often about yourself.
Definitely. But that's why it's so important because even yesterday, like I said, I still have experiences the same as everyone else. But yesterday I caught myself. I think I was talking to my sister, and like I said, there was a situation within the family. And I was talking to her about it, and I said something like, "Oh, I don't know why they kept treating me like that." And I went, "Oh, wow. Oh, I just heard myself. Nobody's treating me like anything. They're having their own experiences and they have their own situations that they're dealing with. Why do I think that they're treating me anyhow?" And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So when I went back, it was again, "Oh, everybody ignores me or I'm not good enough." So you can catch it there and then. I'm like, okay, that's an old frequency. Thank you for showing itself to me. I now release you in love. Thank you for showing, because it's only showing you little fragments that are still inside of you. So when you catch it, acknowledge it. Don't make it right and wrong because energy is just neutral. Just thank it for showing you any little blockage that might be inside of yourself. Acknowledge it in love, release it in love, and it goes away. It can't come back with the same impact anymore.
Mm. So, do you still set boundaries? Like, I mean, okay, so everything is a reflection. However,
Mm.
do we still need to set boundaries? Let's say
Oh,
there is
100%. 100%.
toxic,
Yeah.
yeah.
100%. Because one thing I find is that the more you walk towards the light, the more enlightened you become, the more pure you become. Everybody wants a piece of that light. Like you will get everybody sucking, sucking. And some people, I find there's a lot of lonely people in the world as well, or people just want to be around a light holder, or people that have that exuberating love for them as well, because most people don't have any love. But then when it becomes to the point where people don't know their own boundaries, so you have to set boundaries because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So even with myself, I still block people. I take them off my WhatsApp. I stop them from contacting me because they can become draining. And you can help someone. You know, there's a great saying like you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. So you try and help people as best as you can. But if they're not ready, if they're not where you are vibrationally, and they're not willing to do the work on themselves or to have that reflection, you're not their teacher at that moment. They're
Mhm.
still on their journey. So just love them and send them well wishes. But you have to put boundaries in place. Very important, because otherwise you can't then do the work that you're here to do as well. So boundaries are very, very important. And that's not just with, that can be with family members, that's with everybody.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. In our industry, entrepreneurship, people are told to think positive,
Mm,
positive thinking. What do
yeah.
you think about that advice?
I think positivity, like it's so over the top now. Like it's a bit toxic because really there is, life is it's two sides. The light and the dark. There is duality. You have to have the light and the dark in every situation. How do you know what love feels like unless you felt the pain? How do you know what, like pain feels like? Or so if there's two aspects of life, there's two energies, there's two aspects, but you have to feel both of them because how do you know what you want unless you have comparison? So it's not about positive thinking. It's about becoming aware of what you are emitting. So it's not about constantly being positive. And everyone keeps saying you have to vibe high, vibe high. This is the new one at the moment. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about vibing high. It's about vibing consistently. It's about having a frequency and being able to maintain it and hold it. That's why things do not manifest. That's why you're trying to change the external, but because one minute you're up and then you're down, then you're up, then you're down, then you're responding, then you're not. So it's about keeping a frequency that is on one level as much as you possibly can. And every time you react, understand that you're reacting and bring yourself back again. Because it's not about being positive. We are living in a world that you are always going to get different perspectives, different people are constantly going to be around you. But it's learning, like, are you going to react? Or are you going to, respond? Like, what's going to come out of you? Are you going to listen to their truth and make their truth your truth? Or are you going to know your truth? And once you know your truth, you're going to keep returning back to yourself. And that's all it is. It's about returning back, returning back. That's not my truth. That might be your experience, but I don't accept that. Thank you very much. Return back to yourself. I reject that frequency. I send that back to you with love. That's not my truth. That's not my truth. That's not my truth. That's not my truth. And
Right.
it's not about being positive. It's about knowing yourself. It's about
Yeah.
knowing that there is a vibrational level out there. And like God, they say God. I don't like using the word God because I think it's got so much stuff behind it, so loaded. So I like to say the
Agree.
universe, energetic, the field. It's love, the vibration of love. We are love. We are liquid love. And when you understand that when you are living from more of the frequency of love, compassion, understanding, gratitude, your frequency is going to stay on a stable basis. When you've got anger, fear, resentment, hatred, jealousy, that's not your truth. That's conditioning that the world has put inside of you. Comparison, needing attention, needing somebody else to validate you. That is not your truth. So every time you return to your truth through gratitude, through love, through compassion, you feel good. So you can just tell, like I tell people, like, there's a hot and cold game you used to play when you was a child. Like, if you move over there, no, cold, cold, cold. If you move over there, hot, 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 you're near to the prize. It's the same thing. Every time you move away from yourself, you feel bad. You'll feel it in your body. Every time you start moving towards your truth, you'll feel good. So just play with it. It's like just don't make it so heavy. Just play with it because we're here to have a joyful life experience, and that's all we're here for.
I think there's a pandemic of people rejecting their truth to fit into
Yeah.
someone else's mold, to fit into someone else's frameworks and strategies and hooks, whatever. And I'm like, right? I'm a marketer.
Yeah.
But what
Yes.
is interesting to me is how you can actually take use a strategy that allows for self-expression and for
Yeah.
the truth, you know,
Yes.
because without it, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not powerful enough.
No.
Uh, yeah. Was there a mo when you in that moment when when you started doing this for business,
Mm.
was there how did you approach it? Did you start looking for a strategy for did you start thinking of more what to say, how to say, maybe use some hooks or whatever?
No, it's a difficult one. I don't, gosh, all I remember is that I started having these visions because I didn't know what to do or how to do it, if I was really honest. And then I started having these visions, and I kept having the same conversations in my head that I was here to work with people that were more in leadership position, more high achievers, visionaries. And I kept thinking, okay, because most of the people I was working with were what I'd say just everyday people. And I kept thinking, well, why? Why do I need to keep working with those sort of people,
Mm,
celebrities and people of influence? And I realized what I was shown was like with Jesus, he had the disciples, and the disciples were filtering down to everybody else. So if you work with somebody who has 100,000 followers, 50,000 followers, or they are a big name, if you change them, if you transform their life, they're going to speak
mm,
about it. So the epidemic in the world, you're so right. We are fed stuff in the world which just isn't true. And if you don't know your truth, you're going to be sucked into it, and you're going to be sucked into it big time. So now there is a spiritual warfare, I would say. It's about reclaiming our truth. And there are so many light workers out there now, so many, even the younger generation, which is so great to see. They're all now coming out to help people to find their light. So I think it's now a time where it's our responsibility, especially for women at this moment, because I feel, okay, I know people aren't going to like this one, but it's very important that women step into their power at the moment. Like the Mary Magdalene lineage is very important. And the reason being is the men that have been running the world, they're running on fear and separation. The women now, we're not to step into the men's role and try to dictate, but we need to bring in the love. We need to
it.
to empower women to love themselves. So it's very important because this isn't just us, this is about transforming the world and bringing the world back into unity together, the male and the feminine,
The
the yin and the
balance.
yang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. That's our job at the moment. So stop playing small, step up and create what you need to create and put it out into the world and don't be afraid.
Unfortunately, women still have some work to do to remove that programming because
Yeah,
we were
definitely.
made to believe this is the only way to do things and but it's
Definitely.
unfolding.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a story. I mean, when I was younger, my mother told me that, I mean, she was brought up with the nuns, in the Catholic community. But she told me that my only job was to be subservient to a man, nothing else. I was only here to serve a man, nothing else, no other reason. And then I remember once, I think I was at some lady's house, and she was cooking. It was Christmas time, and she was cooking a Christmas cake. And she cooked all this mixture and she put it into this a tin, like an oven tin. And she's cutting all this stuff away to fit it into the tin. And I'm like, what are you doing? So she said, oh, that's how tradition, that's how my grandma done it, how my grandma done it, how her grandmother done it. I said, why don't you just get a bigger tin? It's like you said, it's a mindset. It's
Yeah.
something that's hereditary. It's like it's going through the cultural generations. And you know, one thing I will say as well now, like the reason why a lot of people are experiencing the stuff they're experiencing, because you chose to come here to break the karma, to break the pattern of your family lineage. So you're here for a very specific reason. So sometimes when you think life is heavy or like all this stuff keeps happening to me, no, it's happening for you because you came here as a very powerful soul and creator because you knew that you had the power to be able to break it and to change it and to break your path for your children, your grandchildren, and for everybody else in the world. So it's really time to step up now.
Yeah, and that's what we are doing. And I grew up in the Soviet Union, right?
Yes.
I mean, the place that women had, I remember, I remember I was getting ready to go to the university and I was going to the open days in one of the universities. And one of the lecturers was saying, and it was IT, so I studied IT. And one of the lecturers said, "What are all the ladies doing here? Your place is in the kitchen." Literally, actually said it. It's like,
Oh,
so we have some work to do, but it's happening. And like people like you, and you're so right when you say, when you decided what kind of people you want to work with, so that there is a greater ripple effect.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. And I think, I really believe like, that a lot of women, especially, we're always comparing ourselves to each other. Men don't do that as much. Like we need to work together. Find the groups that can empower you, not the ones that talk about the things you don't want. So find the groups that are literally going to help you to evolve
mhm.
rather than keep you stuck. I have a lot of women, and for some reason, like they write to me and they'll say to me, "Oh, it's all right for you. Look at you with your Porsche, and you got this amazing life." And I'm like, "But I never had that life. I
And
created
you
that life
created
for
it,
myself." Like,
exactly.
yeah, and also, what people don't understand, like I came from nothing. And also, I used to be locked in a cupboard with a baby's potty because I was too disgusting to be seen. I used to be beaten. I was shot at. I had some awful things happen to me. So there was no excuse. So give me an excuse because I'm telling you now, I think I've been through all of them. When you take control of your mind and emotions, you can create anything. It doesn't matter what's happened to you in the past. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've been homeless. I was thrown out, no money, no nothing. It doesn't matter. That's just a starting point. That's just a representation of where you were focusing. But from that basis, you can do anything. It's literally the world's your oyster. Anything you want to achieve, you can achieve it.
Beautiful. Look, it's more than an hour. I can't believe this. It felt, for me personally, it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, same as me. I could talk to you all day long, so and I do like to chat.
Oh, such a great conversation, so much wisdom. Thank you so much. So,
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about what's going on in your world. What are you cooking? What's coming? What's new coming for your
Yeah.
audience, for your
Yeah,
people?
I love creating. So I'm just writing at the moment for I'm on my seventh book. So I'm just creating my seventh book. I've just created another app. So I've got an app, self-mastery for people, for adults, but I'm now creating one for the children and the younger generation because I really feel that they have no one to talk to. They're struggling. I have all my grandson's friends phone me and they call me Nanny Mimi, and we meet up and they have some anger issues because of certain things. So this is really important now to be able to give them a voice and to be able to change their trajectory of their life. So I've got that coming out soon. I've got a self-mastery membership coming out next week. What else have I got? I don't know, I can't remember. My brain's gone. Lots of different aspects of bits and pieces, working with a few corporate clients to create some amazing things out there. But yeah, it's just about finding, like I said, everything's a placebo, but it's about finding some things and some strategies that help people because wherever you are, you will find the book, you will find the network, and you will find the app. Everything will come to you if you just ask as well. Ask, we don't ask. Stop asking,
Mm.
like, what's wrong? And start asking, what do I need to know now? How is this situation helping me to remember who I am? How can I grow? How can I expand? Ask the right questions, and the universe will answer you. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right here at the moment.
Oh, amazing. I can't, I'm looking forward to seeing the app. Actually,
Yes.
my daughter is 9 and I'm already, like we talk about things and whatever, so it's very exciting as well because the world is w waking
Mhm.
up to the fact that children need to know about these things as well.
Yeah.
It,
And they have
I,
no direction either, there's no direction for them. So instead of going on to, keep playing Fortnite and all these games that are about killing and programming your mind for anger, and they wonder why there's so many
mm,
shootings and things in the world. I want to create an app, and I've been in the people that have created the cartoons in Walt Disney, they've been helping. So they're going to have characters. They can go in, they can build the life that they want to build. They're going to get points for expanding and growing. So they can start focusing their minds and their imaginations in a
right,
positive way,
right.
So very important at the moment. And the adult app is the same. So the adult app is literally to keep you on track. It's got everything inside there from morning to night, affirmations, everything. And it's also got me AI. So if you're having a problem and you've got no one to talk to, instead of going to your friends where you're going to get, the wrong advice, go in there and it will give you the advice that will help you to move forward and take you to another place rather than keeping you stuck in anger.
And you mentioned this, so last question, I have to ask it. And you mentioned this now, it was lingering, but you said it. AI. What's your take on AI? What's going on in the world? How is it gonna
I think
affect
people
us?
have to be, yeah, I think people have to be very careful with AI. I think AI is a great tool to utilize and it can come up with some great answers for you. And, a lot of people are saying, oh, like I put my business through it and it's creating all my content, it's doing this, it's making my life simpler. Yeah, but the downside of it is that it's making people redundant from their jobs. It's making people not talk to each other. And the whole thing about a lot of things that's happening in the world at the moment is disconnecting us from each other. And when
Yeah,
we come together, we are powerful beings, and all this stuff is to keep us separate. Every time there's a tragedy in the world, like when the Twin Towers or something happens, everybody forgets their problems. They all go together and they help one another. They help mankind because that's who we truly are. But all this other stuff is to keep us separate, to keep us fighting, to keep us in comparison. So use it, but be very careful
I
of
was
the intention.
thinking, I was
Yeah.
thinking the other day, oh my God, people instead of, if they need a recipe for a cake,
Mm.
you know, they're asking AI, they're not calling their mom,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly. It's
It's,
so true. You're literally killing the connection, genetically,
right.
family. You're killing everything, and it's really important. It's like this is only going to get worse. There's now people that are dating people. You can choose your ideal profile. They can create a robot, so you've got your ideal man or your ideal women. But for what? So that you can only experience love, and that's not what life's about, and it's not real. So, do you know what I mean? So be careful about what you adhere to in life. Like I say, utilize it. But every single person's work now is, I can tell when somebody's writing with AI. It's all the same. It's all genetic, it's all written exactly the same.
Yep.
Just utilize it to a degree, but be authentic. The truth, you've got everything you want inside of you, and that will hit people more than using AI for things. You might get quick fixes, but that's not what the answer's about. It's about individually awakening and growing and having experiences in life.
That is okay. I need to let you go. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the elegance, for all the light.
No, thank you so much for having me here to be able to talk to you. It's amazing. I feel like I've been talking literally with you for about 4 minutes, but I know it's been ages. But no,
And
thank you so much. Thank you.
yeah, I'll put the links, whatever links you want me to put in the show
Great.
notes in the description. So thank
Fantastic.
you
Thank you.
and thanks for listening and watching whoever was here with us. And until next time.
Thank you.